Hello everyone. So today I'll take you through finding key shortcuts in Excel and how to work on those Excel shortcuts. So before I start, I'd like to show you the agenda of this video. So the agenda of this video is to cover the following, and so let's start with the first part. So I'd like to show you that all of the shortcuts in Excel are displayed after pressing the Alt key. And once you press the Alt key, you see here that File, Home, everything has a shortcut. So Excel will actually tell you what those shortcuts are. All you gotta do is to remember them. So when I started my career in corporate, so the thing that I did was my entire role was on Excel modeling only. So what I did was that I identified what are the key parameters in Excel that I used, and I just noted down all of those shortcuts. And once I had the list of shortcuts and I practiced them, after a month, uh, I was faster compared to what I was before I started. So yeah, so so the main thing is to prepare to identify the key things or most commonly used in Excel. Whatever key parameters that you commonly use, identify them and make a list of them uh, and practice them. So I'll take you through key common shortcuts that can be. So like if you have to create a new sheet, Shift F11. And if you have to navigate between sheets, so I'll show you that too. So hold Control and then press page down to move downwards. Press and hold Control, press page up to move upwards. This is how you shuffle between the sheets. Another one would be to if you have to select a row, so hold Shift, press space. This will select the entire row. If you have to select multiple rows, just drag it down while holding Shift key. If you have to select column, just hold Control key and press space. And if you have to select multiple columns while holding the Shift key, drag it across. So these are the key basic shortcuts. And moving ahead, there are certain control shift functions which I would like to tell. So for instance, let's take an example of date. Assume this is a date. It shows in OK format, but sometimes we'd like month to be displayed or probably in a proper date format. So that'll be press Control Shift together and keep them holding and then press 3. So basically Control Shift 3. This gives you a date format. So Control Shift 3 gives you a date. If there is a number 150, you press Control Shift 5, you'll get a percentage. So basically assume it, if it's assume if it's 2, you press Control Shift, you get 200%. So basically if you have to change to percentage, all you need to do is to press Control Shift 5. Control Shift 4 would be for dates. Sorry, my bad. Control Shift 4 would be for currency. And yeah, you just press Control Shift 4. Another thing that I just remembered, and I'll come back to this, is assume if you have an Excel formula here. Let me just get some raw data. Yes, okay, I'll show you that how. So if you have to drag a formula for particular cells, just select them. So see, selection of cells is done by Shift and moving across cells is done by control. So this is the selection, that is what I'm doing right now. So I'm pressing shift and down arrow, and if I have to extend this formula, I'll just press Control D. So remember, Control D for downwards, extending the formula, and if you have to extend it right or left, not left actually in this case, but right will only work. You got to press Control R. The formula gets dragged. So this is the raw data that we have. Now I'll cover the I'll cover certain operations on this to cover basic shortcuts. But coming back to Control Shift functions, so Control Shift 1 would be for general numbers like 45. Just press Control Shift 1, it will give you general accounting or general number format. And Control Shift tilde would be for changing to general. That's it. So these are Control Shift. Another thing that I want to take you across is indentation part. So for indentations, for instance, if you are writing here revenues, revenues of the total company of ABC, and assume the revenues had, they were classified according to the geography, and revenues from India and revenues from USA and probably revenues from China. So let me just take this down so that I can perform operations. So if you put here, if you put here, let's say, if you put here, let's say 1,000, 10,000, and this was 5,000, this was 2,000, this was 3,000, and this was actually the sum of these numbers, it does not look presentable. So in order to make it presentable, we use indentation. This will be highly used when you create financial models. So to do indentation is, it's simple. Just select the figures or the line items which you want to indent, and then press Alt H6. Alt H6, because now if you see, Excel will tell you, if you press Alt, if you press H, and then if you press 6, you see here, this is right indentation. So yeah, once that is done, you would want to group them. So grouping can be achieved. You got to select the entire rows that you want to group. So shift space for one row, and then I drag it across for the row selected, and then I press Alt A G G. This gets grouped. If you have to ungroup them, select the group cells and then press Alt A U U. They will get ungrouped. Now coming back to the uh, operations part. So there is a, so like if you have to find a sum of this, so you, of course, you will write sum and do it like this. It takes time. You can still reduce a nanosecond. All you got to do is press Alt and equal to. That's it. Enter. And then now, if you have to perform the same operations for this, just when you are on this cell, if you have to drag across the formula, hold shift